that I'm dying to know. Why do you call 50 curly?
He's not straight. He's a fag. He's gay. You know it. I know it.
I'm not poking a bear. I'm saying that he's a stone. And I've spoken to 2 men he's lived in sales with. Who you had with? Curtis? No, I'm not saying allegedly. You're and you know it.
50 Cent is a what? That's the question shaking the whole scene right now because Jaguar Wright came in swinging again. She's known for calling out big names like R. Kelly, Diddy, and Jay-Z. And the wild part is, she's been right more times than people want to admit. So when she suddenly dropped a new bomb about 50 Cent, everyone stopped scrolling and leaned in real quick. If you don't know Jaguar, she's not some random voice online. She came up during that neo-soul era with Jill Scott and The Roots. But instead of staying in the music lane, she became the one exposing what she calls Hollywood's dirt. She's been loud about the things she's seen, and that's why folks pay attention every time she speaks. So when she mentioned Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, the whole internet perked up. She said 50 built this image of being a cold, tough, woman-loving street boss, when according to her, that's not who he really is at all. Jaguar claims he's been hiding his true orientation, and if what she's saying is real, that could flip the whole way people see him and the brand he's been pushing for decades. This shook people because 50 has always moved like nothing could touch him. She said this all came up while she was explaining why she stepped away from the industry in the first place. She claimed powerful billionaires and high-level execs tried to silence real artists and push fake narratives to protect their own interests. And right in the middle of that talk, she took things in a whole new direction. Jaguar said people labeled her crazy or violent, but insists that was all strategy to shut her down and make sure nobody believed her. And the way she said it had the whole room quiet because she sounded like someone tired of being dismissed and finally ready to lay everything out. Jaguar said people keep trying to trap her in cases because they already know what time it is. Once she starts talking, she blows the whole spot open. She said she's not scared to leak the real story about 50 Cent and his private life, and that's the part making the internet freeze up. According to her, even though 50 spent years throwing shade at the LGBTQ+ community, she claims he's actually living the opposite behind the scenes. And the wild twist, she's not the only one who ever made that kind of statement. Rick Ross already hinted at 50 not being straight more than a decade ago, long before all this went viral. So now some folks are looking back at old lyrics like many men, wondering if the meaning hits different once you hear all these old whispers stacking up. It's messy, shocking, and definitely the kind of thing that gets people arguing online. But here's where it gets even crazier. Jaguar's claims sounded over the top at first, so we dug around to see if anyone else ever said something similar, and the amount of old interviews floating around is honestly surprising. There are people who were saying this stuff way before Jaguar ever opened her mouth. It's like the dots were always there, but nobody slowed down to actually connect them. One of those voices is a rapper named Smart. He flat out alleged that 50 Cent and G-Unit had some gay rituals. And yeah, his interviewers laughed at him like he was just trolling. But when you put that next to other old comments, the whole vibe changes.
And he said you did the same thing to him. You asked him to take him shopping.
Yeah, I thought he needed some clothes. What? I'm a nice guy.
Yo, why are you and 50?
Hey, yo.
Why y'all not?
Hey, yo, I don't have no beef with
I don't know why.
With Fifth. He loves me. He loves me.
Do y'all really
can't
have a
see
beef?
it? I mean, y'all can't see it.
No, we can't see it.
Y'all can't see that he loves me?
But see,
you really, hold on, you really think that's hate? You really, when you really break it down, you've been out here a long time. You know he loves me.
I don't think he like it.
You know he loves me.
I don't think he like it.
Okay.
But why?
Suddenly, it sounds way less like a joke and way more like someone spilling something they weren't supposed to say, and then comes Spider Lock. About 6 years ago, he also claimed that 50 liked men, and people brushed it off back then. But now, with all these resurfacing stories and Jaguar screaming her truth at full volume, the whole situation looks a lot more serious than folks originally thought. Look, whatever lifestyle 50 chooses is his business. But our job here is to break down anything that might back up Jaguar's claims. And things got real interesting fast. While digging, we ran straight into a name nobody expected. Vivica Fox. Yes, that Vivica. the one who actually dated 50 back in the day. And on a whole TV show, she hinted that Curtis Jackson wasn't as straight as he always presented himself. Hearing that from someone who was actually with him had everybody raising eyebrows. And let's not forget, 50 spent years clowning Diddy, calling him fruity and all types of names. But here's the twist. People forget what Diddy said back then. It slipped past most folks, but Diddy claimed 50 secretly liked him. At the time, the public treated it like a punchline. But now people are looking back thinking, hold on, was Diddy trying to expose something without saying it directly? The timing, the tension, the shade, all of it feels different now. Then we hit the piece of circumstantial evidence that really had people staring. You remember how Gene Deal has claimed for years that Diddy had a habit of getting close with male rappers? Well, there's a particular clip where Gene says Diddy met a well-known rapper at a hotel and even brought toys, items that the rapper allegedly liked and wanted used during their time together. Gene didn't drop a name, but the way he described the vibe had people connecting dots instantly. And when folks put that story next to old comments from 50 where he laughed about liking certain playful things from his ex, nothing explicit, but enough to make fans think twice, suddenly Gene's story doesn't sound far-fetched at all. The street started whispering again, wondering if Gene was low-key talking about 50 without saying his name.
When you continuously call Puff gay, does that affect your relationships in Hollywood?
I don't call him gay. I said,
Let me read it, Fifth.
Oh my God.
Sorry I can no longer help you guys. Soon you will all be gay and happy. You are all now left under leadership of Puffy Daddy. Report to the nearest rainbow. Dinner Thieves in theaters January 19th.
That's why he says things. He doesn't even know what he's saying is like fruity. You know what I'm saying? Like, he says something fabulous and he goes, but me and you, we ain't party. Like, we need to party. What is he talking about?
Incense has gone off.
When people say that to me, I get a little uncomfortable. I get uncomfortable. Like he said something to me one time, a long time ago. At Chris Lighty's wedding, he told me he'd take me shopping. I looked at him like, what'd you just say? Let me move, man, before I do something. You're gonna make me mess up the wedding.
Oh, that's a nice gesture.
Let me get out of no, dude, take me. That's what a guy says to a girl.
The energy around that clip has been getting louder by the day, and now Jaguar's claims are hitting way harder than before. Now here's where things get even wilder, because Jaguar didn't stop at rumors. She claims there are actual situations that people witnessed but brushed off because nobody ever wants to believe the truth the first time. She said the industry has known about 50's private life for years, but everybody kept it quiet because 50 was too powerful and too loud to challenge. That kind of fear says a lot in this business. Jaguar even brought up how 50 moves when he's around certain Hollywood circles, saying his whole tough guy image only works in public, while behind closed doors he switches into someone completely different. She insists the persona is just a shield, a way to keep folks from asking real questions. Whether she's right or not, the confidence she said it with had people glued to every word. Then there's the part where she hinted that some executives allegedly covered for him. She said big money protected his image because he was their golden goose, someone who sold the drama, the beef, the chaos, everything they needed to make millions. Jaguar's angle is that if the truth came out back then, the brand would have collapsed overnight, and the people behind him couldn't risk losing that profit. The way she framed it made the whole thing sound like a Hollywood survival strategy. But the moment that broke the internet was when she mentioned she wasn't scared to drop receipts if anybody tried to silence her again. She said, "They painted me as crazy so nobody would believe me." And that line got people talking like never before. Because now, with old interviews, old jokes, and old comments resurfacing, the puzzle pieces aren't looking so random anymore. They're starting to line up in a way that has fans shocked, confused, and curious all at once. And just when people thought Jaguar had already said the craziest parts, she doubled down harder than ever. She claimed the reason so many folks stay quiet about 50 is because he allegedly keeps his own files on other celebrities. Not tapes, not illegal stuff, just private info and behind-the-scenes dirt that he could use to clap back whenever someone steps out of line. She said that's why rappers rarely press him publicly. Everyone's scared he might spill something they don't want the world to hear. That's a heavy accusation, and it had fans arguing instantly. Jaguar even hinted that 50 learned that playbook from the same industry bosses. She says, run Hollywood like a chessboard. She said he studied their moves, their tricks, their ways of controlling narratives, and then used that blueprint to build his own reputation as the ultimate bully. Whether she's right or wrong, the way she pieced it together had people sitting up like, wait, this actually adds up. She also claimed that 50's whole history of beefing with other rappers might have been less about music and more about who knew what about him. She said some of those feuds weren't random at all. They were attempts to shut people down before they whispered the wrong thing. Suddenly, all those old rivalries and random online jabs started looking different to folks listening to Jaguar's story. Then she said something that shook the room. She claimed there are people 50 used to be close with, real insiders, who allegedly walked away because they didn't want to be wrapped up in his double life. Jaguar didn't name drop directly, but she said if people really look back at who disappeared from 50's circle and when, the pattern would speak for itself. That line alone had fans on TikTok and YouTube doing full detective breakdowns. At this point, Jaguar wasn't just hinting anymore. She started breaking down the whole energy around 50's career like she was pulling the curtain off a stage show. She said the reason people get so defensive when his name comes up is because the industry trained everyone to keep his image untouched.
Playing with my life. That's facts. That's bad. That's real.
That means playing with, okay, because I'm gonna expose, that means playing with your butt. You know what I mean? No, listen, because, no, I'll be honest, look, just saying in general because I feel like a lot of people, like, I had like 2 record deals, right? And
they wanted your butt?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. You was with G-Unit.
That's, look, he ain't smoked nothing, bro. Hold on.
You ain't blink.
Jesus, okay. I'm sitting back.
Like,
Yo, who with G-Unit wanted your butt, bro?
Listen, hold on, look.
What's his name? What's his name?
So because it's not even funny. I'm keeping it real, right? It's not even.
According to her, the tough guy look wasn't just branding. It was a shield to hide anything that didn't fit the persona he built in public. And the way she explained it had viewers locked in. She pointed out how every time someone tried to question him, the conversation somehow shifted. The jokes kicked in or the person suddenly backed off. She said that wasn't coincidence. That was strategy. She claimed the people around 50 made sure the narrative always stayed in his favor because once you control the story, you control the power. And Jaguar was adamant that this is exactly why so many rumors stayed buried for so long. Then Jaguar went deeper, saying the whole rap world is built on image, and 50 mastered that game better than almost anyone. She said he understood early on that respect, masculinity, and dominance were the 3 things you needed to stay untouchable in hip-hop. So he built his entire persona around that. But according to her, the louder he pushed that character, the more it hid what he didn't want people questioning. That's the part that had fans arguing nonstop. She said that in private circles, people whispered for years, but nobody wanted the smoke that came with saying anything out loud. Jaguar claims she heard stories from stylists, producers, party hosts, and even artists who were close enough to pick up slip-ups. Little things that didn't match the brand he showed the world. She didn't call anyone out by name, but she made it sound like more than a few people know way more than they let on. And the wildest part? Jaguar said she's ready to name names if she feels threatened again. All of this has people asking a serious question. Does 50 go so hard against anything related to orientation because he's scared folks will start looking at him differently? Or is he worried about what the public would say if he ever confirmed anything himself? Either way, every new detail Jaguar drops makes the whole situation feel heavier the deeper you go into the timeline. And you already know 50 is not the type to sit back quietly while someone puts his name in the spotlight like this. Jaguar said that's exactly why he's trying to shut her down now, because she's not backing away from what she claims she knows. And then she completely snapped on him, saying she knew about a supposed situation between him and Soulja Boy, claiming she even knows 2 men he allegedly had private relationships with. The way she said it had the whole internet yelling, "No way," because the confidence in her voice was unreal. She even took things further, hinting that now that Diddy is locked in legal chaos, Jay-Z is trying to show he's still the one running things, and according to her, 50 wants to step in as his new right-hand man. Jaguar made it sound like 50 is ready to grind in any lane necessary if it means climbing higher in that power circle. By this point, it was obvious she wasn't throwing random shots. She was laying out a whole blueprint of how she says the industry actually operates. She claimed these patterns of power aren't accidents at all, but a cycle where certain people stay protected, while artists with real independence either fade away, break down, or get replaced by someone more controllable. The way she framed it made the whole system look like one giant machine running in the shadows. Then she spun right back to 50 and dropped another heavy accusation. She said he allegedly enlisted folks to stir up trouble at the upcoming Super Bowl in New Orleans. Jaguar said that move needed to stop immediately, and the warning she gave sounded dead serious. Now this whole situation cracked open a giant mess because people started digging back through all the things Jaguar said over the years about 50. And the picture she paints makes him look like a serious menace in her eyes. She claimed he hires private investigators to pull dirt on anybody who might threaten his power, almost like he runs his own behind-the-scenes intel team. That alone had folks staring at the screen like, "Hold up, what?" Jaguar said 50 stays lying to people about who he is and what he does, moving in ways nobody expects. And then she dropped another wild claim. She said 50 is tied in with Diddy's alleged freak-off tape lifestyle, hinting that he knows way more about those situations than he pretends. She even suggested he uses his own form of blackmail to climb the ranks in the industry, switching up whenever it benefits him. Whether it's true or not, the accusations are loud enough to shake up the whole conversation. And Jaguar didn't stop there. She explained why 50 talked all that trash about Diddy for years, but suddenly went so quiet once the Fed stepped in and the case hit the courtroom. According to her, 50 didn't want to say too much because he didn't want certain things bouncing back on him. The internet has been arguing ever since, trying to decide if Jaguar is exposing something real or just stirring up smoke. So what do you think? Is Jaguar really cooking here, or is all of this just noise from old Hollywood beefs? Make sure to like, subscribe, share, and drop a comment below. And I'll see you on the next one.